What's up, everybody? This is Dave Helem, and I'm very honored to be a guest for my first time on the Facial Recognition Podcast.
Hey, Dave.
What up, though?
Oh, see. Look, you guys know I want. It's the facial recognition comedy podcast,
Everybody
and
does
everyone does that. Literally every single person. And I'm
Everybody.
wondering, do we need to drop the comedy?
We might
I think
have
it's
to.
just part of the intro now. Is
Yeah.
just correcting it.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
like part of the official
I wanted
intro.
to. Did you see? Like I was trying to hold back, and I was like, I can't. I have
no,
to be
I
authentic.
think we should just drop the comedy
Yeah.
part.
This is just the facial recognition podcast.
Yeah.
It's part of facial recognition
I
comedy.
mean, they can't see our faces through the podcast anyway. unless
Dave?
they're watching
I'm not
on
going to tell
YouTube.
you what to do.
Okay.
So, whatever
You did a
like.
great job, though.
Oh, thank
That
you.
was
Yeah.
that was one of I think
Wonderful.
that was one of our top 5 probably, and we've had
Yeah.
a lot of episodes.
Yeah.
That was the teacher in me coming out strong.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did a good
It's
job.
called the hook. If you
Yeah.
can't get the kids in the first minute, then they won't respect you, and then they will steal your shit. Real talk.
Those are wise words. So for our listeners who you
Wait,
know
we
are
never
new,
introduced
yeah,
ourselves.
that's what I was about to say.
She's getting
is-
to it.
yeah.
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
She's
I
getting it.
thought-
Listeners, I'm Fizza Dasani,
I'm Zara Ali
I'm Paula Viganalan.
and we're here.
with Dave Helem.
Dave Helem, Dave Halim. I get so many different.
It's Helem, though,
It's Helem,
right?
though. It's
Yeah.
Helem, you know.
Okay.
But I've been called it all from Halim to, especially when I was like, I I had a Muslim wedding, right? And
Oh, you did?
I did.
Did they serve Halim at your wedding? Have you had Halim before?
No, I don't know what Halim is.
So Halim is this like it's like lentils and beef stew. It's like a northern Indian, Pakistani. Actually, it has some like Arab influences too. It's a great
Okay,
dish.
It's dope.
It's
okay.
it's dope.
No, but
so
people
good.
called me Helem until I had the Muslim wedding, and then people started calling me Dawood Halim. Like
Dawood.
What's the Muslim wedding?
I went through a phase where like, and I'm kind of agnostic now. Like
Yeah.
I don't think I practice anything, but I went through a period in 2007 where I went through like a really just confusing part of my life where I was like, I was going to church, I didn't rock with it, it didn't make sense, and then I met this woman at my job who was a teacher when I was teaching, and she like gave me a lot of materials on the Quran and stuff like that. And I read it. I was like, "This makes sense, right?"
I'm guessing she was a Muslim woman.
She was also a convert too.
Oh,
a
okay.
Black woman, you know. And but here's the thing: like, I took my shahada and I got into it, and then they hit me with the whop. It was just like you got to be super Muslim, right?
Hardcore.
Who were these? Who was the community that you?
And it was like the. And this wasn't reflective of the community. This is
Yeah.
just her more so. But this is
Gotcha.
like West Atlanta. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like. And they were super cool, but they were like, "Man, we gotta find you a wife." And I was like, "Hey, man, I just got here, right?" So,
Yeah, damn.
so that's when I said I got married. I've been there, you know.
Yeah.
So I was married for like 2 years, and it was just super. I remember I was eating like, because I didn't know about the whole like. I mean, I knew about the whole halal thing, but I didn't
Yeah.
know like how strict it was. So I was just eating like a steak taco one day, and she was like, "What are you doing?"
Oh, you didn't know, but you didn't know that your food would be restricted.
I
in
just
order
thought
to
I couldn't eat pork. you
Yeah.
know? It was like, nah, that's not
Damn.
halal. So
Yeah.
So we're recovering Muslims also.
Yeah.
Not me.
is it not you?
Nah.
Fizz and Zara are recovering
We're
Muslims,
recovering,
so we kind
yeah.
of we do understand that pain and struggle.
When you say
It's a
nah,
lot.
you mean like you just never were, or like
Nah, my family we're Hindu, but my immediate family is pretty atheist.
word,
Yeah.
word.
Yeah. I mean, I don't organized religion's not my thing. I don't really use labels, so agnostic is. I get that. That's sort of
Yeah.
what maybe it would fall into. But like, yeah, when you're force fed religion, man,
That was
that
the
shit.
That was the turning, not
That
turning
shit.
point. That was kind of like the
Woof.
turn off, honestly.
Yeah.
Because like
So there was a lot of pressure. So as soon as you
Yeah.
decided to convert, like they kind of just pulled you to the other end of the spectrum.
it was
Was
just
it too much
it
too
was-
quick?
It was too much too fast.
Yeah.
And I remember I found a wife, and I showed up at homecoming, and people didn't know I was Muslim now. So like I showed up with like a wife and like a kufi, and like my beard was longer, and people was like, "Man, what the fuck are you doing?" I was
This
like,
was in high school?
college.
College.
Oh, college.
My
college.
college
I was like,
reunion.
what?
No, I'm
College
not.
reunion.
I'm not. It wasn't that strict.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like 25, I would say at the time. So it was a lot. And, you grew up in Western society, so you used to going out, drinking, whatever.
Yeah.
And it was just like a lot of rules. Like I remember one time I drank some alcohol, and the woman who I told you kind of introduced me to the religion. She was like, "Your
Yeah.
prayers will not be answered for 40 days." And I was just like, "All right, man, I just want a beer."
Also,
No, were they
but
like testing for it in your bloodstream?
Nah.
God's like performing tests on it.
Like people would be snitching, like, "Oh, I saw Dave drinking the beer." You know what I'm saying? And it was just, I don't feel like that's what religion is.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
and especially when
that's
you-
not love, that's not God. to
that's
me.
also it's also part of like Hassan Minaj talked about this in his special, but there's a lot of like what will people think associated with it. So when you're part of this like community, it's like people just have their eyes and ears open for someone else to fuck up, so they can talk about
There
it and
was a lot
shame
of that.
you. And
Yeah.
it's like, are we sure God is keeping track of all the billion, like the 1 billion Muslims out there, and like every little action that they're doing, and small
Yeah.
things here and
like,
there?
like a T chart with like
Yeah.
a plus and a minus on it.
Yeah.
I think like there's two major operating systems for humans, and I think that's fear-based and love-based. And it's just like that to
Word.
me. That's like when it enters into the realm of fear and religion, and it turns into like the dogma, and you have to do this, and you have to do this, and you're wrong, wrong, wrong. It's not love-based, right?
It's
So
not.
it's an efficient motivator. I think fear is a very efficient motivator, but it's just, I don't know. It doesn't feel good.
And she was a convert too, my wife. You know what I'm saying? So like we're basically trying to find our way into this new religion. And she would wear the hijab, and like, this is a black woman. You know what I'm saying? So like it was very stressful for her. And I think like at 2 years in, we were just kind of like, yo, this is way more intense than what we thought, and we kind of left the organized religion aspect.
Yeah.
Oh,
aspect
you
of
left
it.
it together.
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
Then we got divorced.
Oh, really?
Very soon afterwards. Yeah, 'cause
Religion keeps you
Yeah.
together, man. I don't know.
it did though, because
Yeah.
like you get up every morning, you lead the prayers. It's like I was the quote unquote husband,
Yeah.
like the person who did the manly stuff according to the religion and stuff like that. And then once we kind of left it, we kind of realized that I was like, you know what, we did this really fast, and I don't have any ill will towards you. It's just not a situation where if we didn't become Muslim, I don't think we would have gotten married, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Right?
I see.
So
Right.
So it kind of pushed you into it too.
yeah, I mean, you had that whole, like I said, the whole community was like, we got to find you a wife, man.
Yeah. So
And-
the community kind of arranged this marriage for
man.
both of you.
I came into a corner store, and they just pulled out like a book of like available like
Wow.
women who were like, and these were like, it was weird, but
Yeah.
it just didn't. It wasn't my thing, and that
It
was.
kind of does seem a little bit like a cult, right?
I mean, I wasn't gonna say that, but it
Yeah.
was. It
I
was-
mean, it's okay. I grew up in that religion, and I call it that all the time.
I think a lot of these things, fear-based stuff, is cult stuff. I mean, there was something that happened that made me realize, like, oh, I was raised in Islam as well. And then, like, in my 20s, I look back and I'm like, oh, I was sort of involved in a cult.
Mm.
I was like, that shit's crazy. How you don't even realize that, because it's affecting your thinking. It affects your thinking, so you're like, your perspective is completely shifted. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I mean, I think that it's like there are like technical definitions of like how cults are different, like what you have to give up. But I think like at any point where you aren't like questioning or using or you're told not to use critical thinking, then I think it's worrisome.
Yeah, seriously, because one thing that stuck out to me as a kid, and I don't know if you've had this thought too, but like, it was like, if something's the truth, what's the problem with questioning it? Why not question
Yeah.
everything? Like, what's the
Control.
problem? Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's,
But I think that's like across a lot of religions
Yeah.
where it's like if you are questioning anything, it's like, oh, it's frowned upon to question. So,
especially with traditions.
That's
and
a red
stuff
flag.
like that.
yeah, especially. So, did you find yourself, so before you got into Islam, were you also questioning things about the church?
Oh yeah, I still do. Like, I mean, I go to church like sparingly now because a lot of times as a black person, you just find yourself in church because that's just what we know.
That's
right?
where we met. You and I met
We
at
did
a
it
church.
at a church show. You are correct about
So
this.
Dave
in
and
Long Beach.
Dave and I, was it a Southern Baptist church? It was a big church.
It was a. They had TV screens.
Yeah.
It was pretty fresh.
It was like one of these. I want to say mega church light. Like it was. It seated a lot of people, and we did this. So for our listeners, you do a lot of interesting gigs in comedy, and we got on to both Dave and I.
Oh, this is a show.
On a show.
I assumed it was a show.
We were on a show.
These two Muslims walk into a church.
It was paid. It was a paid show.
It was a paid gig.
You don't get that very often.
And it was it was a very nicely taped set and all of that
dope,
stuff.
yeah.
So, and it was a great lineup. So I'm like, yeah, I'll do the show.
It was a very fun show. I don't know. I forgot who the headliner was, but he had a pretty big
I want
following.
to say
too.
Nemr.
Yes.
Nemr, who's a Lebanese American comedian. He tours internationally. But yeah, it was a really fun show, but it was a kind of an interesting experience because as I got there, I'm like, oh, we got to do clean comedy. But I don't think I really stuck by the rules on that one.
I've always been a person who's challenged things that don't make sense to me.
Yeah.
So when I grew up in church,
Yeah.
there was a lot of singing and there was a lot of here's what scared me. There would be people who would catch the Holy Ghost.
Yeah.
That freaks me out.
Right,
a
and they would
little
start screaming and crying, and they'll be older. And as a child or even a teenager, you're like, what's happening right now? I don't understand this shit, right?
Yeah.
And it's not that I'm being a bad person. I just didn't quite understand this stuff. Then you had the whole Trinity concept, and then I went to a white Catholic high school. And then we went on some retreat, and then they gave me this picture of white Jesus, my senior year in high school.
And how is that going to resonate? That's the thing. I have an issue with the whole one size fits all. This is your understanding of the world. Here.
Did you
And we all
question?
share it.
Can I ask a question about Islam? So the Holy Trinity thing is common through Hinduism also has that. Is that true in Islam too? There's no three things.
One.
Yeah.
To my knowledge.
Yeah. There's only one of the biggest pillars. There's only one God. So
Yeah.
and I think they mean it. It's meant in a very literal sense, at least the way it was taught to me. But that's again, popular interpretation.
Yeah, we have
The oneness of God is sort of.
we have Vishnu the preserver, Brahma the creator, and Shiva the destroyer, and then those manifest into all the other gods you hear about.
Which sounds way more fun.
It's a fun mythology.
It makes more sense though, having these three that become one, as opposed to one who is also three, but it's also one. It's just I don't know what's happening.
Well,
know?
I think the underlying message is sort of the oneness of everything, and then I think people, the common or I don't want to say elementary, but the understanding of God as a person is it's a concept. To me, it's a concept. So
I like to debate, and I remember I got into a debate about religion with one of my good friends from college, and he got so mad that he's a Christian. He got so mad that he called his granddaddy, and he said, "Talk to my granddaddy." What is your granddaddy gonna do, man? I know he's a pastor, and that's great, and you respect him as a person, but
did you talk to him?
Yeah, I talked to his granddaddy.
So it's crazy that when someone's their sense of security is threatened if you don't believe it sort of shatters
Isn't
their
that the
security.
world?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the political climate we're in right now, too, in this country. It's there's a divide between, political beliefs. So it's I hate you as a person. And it's you have to have open dialogue and allow other people to believe what they believe,
That's true, but I think, it's dangerous when it's, reality versus not. And I have to can I tell you a really quick story? I went to Portland and I stayed with these friends who are so nice to me and have been so sweet. And then we got into this argument because it got into I heard her saying things. I was like, this is a triggering thing where she was talking about both sides and stuff. And she was talking about she used to be liberal, voted for Obama, and then now she's but I'm going to question all sources. And I'm just because one source lies to you doesn't mean the other one does. And I think that's what the world is suffering from is that reality. People are well, if this isn't real, then nothing's real, and it's you have to use critical thinking.
That's a really good comparison between religion and politics. I never thought about it being left and right and Christian and versus non-Christian, but it's the same exact So literally like these. It's not literally the same thing, but
It's kind of cultish. People want to sort of fit in.
But there are like realities. Like you have to agree on like what has been said and done in the world. You know.
I mean, I lean on sort of the side that there's as many universes as perspectives. But I understand what you're saying. We're functioning in a society, right? So we have to have some sort of
like, I mean, actual things happen. Like you have to agree on some reality.
Yeah.
Like of the world.
have you ever had a conversation with somebody and it's cool, and then until they get to the point where they say like, well, you know you're going to hell, right? Like it's like everything's just cool, and then they finally drop that bomb, like you know you're going.
Yeah,
you know you're going to hell.
I
Like,
just
you're a
had
good guy.
I had this conversation with this woman who I met out here in LA. She's very smart, and I respected her for a long time, and then all of a sudden we were having this deep conversation, and she tried to sell me crystals. And I'm like, what? And then she's like, no, you should really do it. And then I felt like maybe I'm the bad person here because
she tried to sell you crystals.
Well, like,
instead of offering you one for free.
why is there a stigma on crystal? And now I'm like, am I a bad person? Because like I'm now judging her because she strongly believes in crystals. I don't know.
I mean, like, I think that that's rough is like when I feel that like when you like bond with someone and you're like, you respect them, and then they have this belief, and then you're like, well, then what is real to you?
Yeah.
Because I don't know, that's really hard.
It's
Well,
never,
yeah, and also she was trying to sell you something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's never about
That's true.
anything in particular. It's not about the crystal. It's not about the religion. It's not about the politics.
It's not about whether you're going to hell.
It's just about you don't like what I like, so therefore what I'm doing is wrong.
Yeah.
And I can't be wrong, right? And that's really the argument.
They can't handle being wrong.
They can't handle it. Like or I could be wrong.
It feels too threatening to.
Well, because it's the core. It's like one of their like fundamental values. And if you try to rock the core of what somebody believes in, it leaves them vulnerable, right?
Isn't that wild?
People
though?
get defensive about it. They're like, you're telling me a belief that I've had my entire life passed down to me for generations that a billion people believe is wrong? You're crazy. I'm not crazy.
And they're trying. It's like they feel so strongly about that they're okay with the idea that someone they think is a good person is going to hell. They're okay with that belief. That's those can live together.
There's also the idea that people are like fine with any answer as long as they have one. Like I remember I was arguing with my cousins because I'm an atheist and they're not, and they're like, well, like at least I was like, I don't know what happens. I don't know what's gonna happen after we die, or like if there's a God or not, like whatever. And they were just like, well, at least we have the answers. And I'm like, but your answers could be so wrong. Like, would you rather just be blinded? You know what I mean?
I think some people need that boundary. They need to, because the unknown can be really scary, and some people, it's everyone has different coping. So I understand where they're coming from. Some people just need answers.
That's the beauty in it to me, though, the unknown. It's like we're all so different as people. Like all these cultures. Like, can you imagine going to a heaven, and in this heaven is just like some shit that people who don't fuck with this culture are in, you know what I'm saying? Like, just people who are like, let's talk about like Christianity for a second, right? And let's say if there is a heaven with Jesus, and now you're in this heaven with all these people who don't know shit about Jesus, and it's weird, like we don't speak the same languages. It doesn't make sense, like logistically, right? And so it's easier for me to say, hey man, I had a vision about this, but this is not really making sense about how this will work, so I'm gonna just tap out because I don't know shit. And I'm fine with saying that.
Yeah.
People just can't do that.
But also, when I mean, along those lines, in a very simplistic way, and this is like what I used to remember growing up, because my parents were part of this like Muslim community of like, Indian, Pakistani Americans. Like a lot of mostly Arabs and Persians weren't even part of our community. And I was just questioning, like, okay, if heaven's a place, like, I mean, I feel like I would want pizza and tacos and Pakistani food, but like, is heaven just going to be a place where they serve Pakistani and Indian food?
It's super homogenous.
Like, this is so weird, Like,
that's what people want, though.
I remember.
I want chicken tenders. Like, were they not going to have chicken tenders?
I don't think that's what a lot of people want, though. So I moved away from that because it's just like, oh, we all have to look the same, think the same, talk the same. Like, that to me is not appealing.
And it's also very like selective and exclusive, right? Like I remember going to like Mormon seminary because I had a sleepover at my Mormon friend's house and we went in the morning. and they were like, they believe in like celestial kingdoms, and there's 3 of them, and like the first one are like the best Mormons get to go there, and then the second one is like not so good, and then the third one is like not Mormons or like didn't know about Mormonism, and like the first one get to visit the bottom 2, but the bottom 2 can't move up, and I'm like, but they didn't know, they didn't even get a chance, you know.
Yeah.
That's
like
wild.
it's a whole thing.
Does that sort of remind you of the caste system?
Yeah,
And that's
it's really weird. It's there. I don't like the idea that you are punished because you happen to be born into something. You know what I mean?
the caste system in Hinduism.
I was just about to say that, honestly.
Yeah.
When you said it, yeah.
That's a smart comparison.
But at the end of the day, man, I moved away from, like I said, the religion aspect of it all, and now I just let people just do them, because like once you realize that you don't know shit, you will have a way better time in life.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm much more happier being stupid, but like acknowledging that I'm stupid.
the world would be a better place
Yeah.
if people acknowledge that they just might not know.
Yeah, yeah. So as you were going through this spiritual journey, how did you find your way into comedy? Because you were a teacher as well by profession.
Yeah.
Right.
I still was.
And now you're doing comedy. You're writing. You're
What did you teach?
you're like all over the place.
So for 12 years, I taught math. I started teaching Georgia history in Atlanta. That was my first teaching job. I was a teacher's assistant after college because I got a math degree. And I realized that, I didn't realize that you really can't do shit with a math degree outside of like
teaching
teach
faculty.
math,
Yeah.
right? So I ended up at this
Oh,
school.
you could have gone into finance.
I wish I would have.
They were taking all the investment banks for a long time.
But you know
Love
what?
math majors.
I
Was
take
that
that
applied math or
You said what?
was it like applied math or?
No, I had a straight up math degree. Like,
So
when
that's
you,
like-
you can't do shit
that's
with.
ac-
or-
There's
academia.
philosophy majors at
Yeah, but-
Goldman Sachs. Like it's
But I
fine.
mean, math teaches you like
Yeah.
a lot of critical thinking,
Yeah.
which is dope. But you
Yeah.
can't do shit in the real world
Mhm.
except like you have to have a focus. Like you have to. It should be like math with a focus in economics or
Yeah.
Right.
statistics or something
The
like that.
degree wasn't very useful to
It
you.
wasn't at all, and
Yeah.
I didn't know what the fuck. I did a senior seminar for my last thing I had to do before I graduated, and I didn't know what the fuck I was talking about for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, I was just reading stuff off index cards.
Mhm.
I don't know what it was on Hilbert Spaces.
Oh,
You know what that is?
a little bit.
Like
It's
I
been a
still
while.
don't know what the fuck that is. I mean, it was like 2004. It was like 15 years ago. But
Mhm.
Why'd you major in that?
parents,
Your
Yeah.
parents wanted you to major in math
yeah, I got a
because they thought you'd get a good job after you graduated.
I'm a minority.
Yeah.
I'm black, and on top of that, like they had a lot of scholarships for like black engineering scholarships. Like I got a full ride to college. You
That's
know?
great. Where'd you
But
go to school?
I went to Morehouse
Okay.
in Atlanta.
Did you get it through Morehouse or?
I got half of it through NASA and half of it through Morehouse. Right.
And you
So
didn't want to
dope.
go to NASA?
I went to NASA for 2 summers. I
Oh,
was on
wow.
college.
The scholarship cut was from NASA, right?
Yeah.
But we had internships during the summertime that made
Yeah.
us go there during the summer. And all I did was I was on college club the
Your
entire
parents
time.
must have been so proud. You go to NASA every summer and
Yeah,
stuff.
but I didn't like it, man.
didn't
Like,
speak
What
to
did
your
they
heart.
do?
so what?
Sorry, what did your parents do?
My mom was a school teacher,
Mm-hmm.
and my dad worked for the Union Pacific Railroad.
Oh, okay.
So he was a railroad engineer.
And
But
do
he,
you,
he didn't go to college though.
did you have siblings that did something similar? Or?
I'm the oldest, so I was kind of like
Pressure.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like I can't, but I love what I do now. In terms of, like, I've always wanted to, like, I didn't believe in myself because my parents never told me I could be dope. And I'm not knocking my parents because they gave me a great upbringing. But like in the 8th grade, I played James and the Giant Peach. The reason I say this is because I went out to be the person who moved the lights. I want to be a fucking the light mover. I don't know what
Yeah.
that term is, but that's all
Tech?
I thought.
I still don't know what that is. I just like
Right, you
whoever
know-
does lighting. Who does lighting on sets?
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I could
Cinematographer.
do. I thought I didn't have it in me to be an actor or to be like that. So then I went up and I just read a couple lines, and the lady, my English teacher, was like, "Dave," she was like, "That was really good," and I got the parts over people who were like,
Been doing it for a long
quote
time. So
unquote,
you're a natural.
right? But we're all 13, so we're not really like that trained in anything.
Yeah.
But my parents never were like, "You should go out there and explore." But they did come to the show, and they were very proud of me.
Yeah.
But that was kind of where it ended.
Yeah.
in some
No
ways.
one thought of it as a viable career path, and you being an engineer is much more beneficial for everybody.
Parents,
than
they don't like
being
their
an
kids
actor.
doing the unknown, right? They want you
Yeah.
to be secure. It makes them feel better.
Yeah, welcome to the Shit on Your Parents podcast.
I mean, that's
Well,
not
we do
personal.
that
It's like
often on this podcast.
I completely understand why a parent would
The
want
Shit on Your
that.
Parents comedy podcast.
But to
And
be
it's
fair,
also it's a thing where
yeah.
like they probably didn't like Zara was saying they probably didn't even realize it was
Yeah.
a proper career. Like
they were also,
there's
I'm
a-
sure they were doing their best, you know? Like, I'm pretty sure,
They've
like, most of our
invested a
parents.
lot of money in my
Yeah.
private school
Yeah.
education, and for me to be doing comedy in Chicago, they were like, "We wasted all this fucking money for you to be at an open mic, getting drunk and coming in at 2
Was
a.m."
this a real conversation?
Oh,
Real sound
yeah.
bites?
What do you mean?
Real, like, is this something that your parents really said to you when you were doing the
I
open
got
mics in Chicago?
I got fired from a teaching job in 2011. I had the worst principal I have ever worked for, and I think I took off a day after a 3-day weekend. And me and her had been bumping heads, and she was like, "Helem, you gotta go." She was like, "This is not the culture of the school," and I'm like, "This ain't working either." So, I got fired, and I was just sitting at home for like the next week, kind of like out of it. And my mom was like, "Well, what are you gonna do?" I was like, "I'm gonna be a comedian. I'm gonna be a writer." And she started crying. And she called my dad down. Then my dad came down in his underwear and was like, "Don't make your mom, don't make your mom mad, right?" And 'cause that's all he gives a fuck about. It's not.
that's literally what my dad would say too.
Yeah, like, don't make your mother mad,
I'm
man,
tired.
right? So, but my dad would tell me to follow my dreams.
Yeah.
But my mom was like the one, and I hate to make it sound like because my mom's a great person too, but she just wanted me to be more like the provider, like
Yeah.
secure type person. And my dad was kind of like, "Hey, man, do what makes you happy."
Yeah.
And I lost my dad like 5 years ago, right? And I think my dad was sick for a while, so I think like he knew he was kind of on borrowed time. So I think he had the mentality of like, "Look, you're not gonna be like not you're not gonna be here that long, but we're
Yeah.
not gonna be here that long, right? So you might as well do."
You see a
what
little
makes
more
you happy.
clearly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, in 2015, I'm still doing both. I'm still teaching. I'm on a roll with Tony Rock. And he's like, "Why are you still teaching?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "You're funny." He said, "You should just try this full time." And I remember what he said. He said, Superman didn't know he was Superman until he tried to fly and he had to fly, right? And
Yeah.
I didn't know what the fuck that meant. I said, "Okay, all right."
I like
But-
that analogy,
right?
though. Yeah.
So
Or is it a metaphor? I don't know.
I don't.
I don't know. You tell me. You're the teacher. Anyway, go on.
I think I don't know what the fuck it is.
Okay.
Probably a metaphor.
Yeah.
But I got laid off from a job because they were going through budget cuts, and I told my principal, I said, "Hey, if somebody has to go, fire me
Yeah.
because I knew I could get unemployment for
Yeah.
like 6 months, and I know and that kind of started me on my voyage in 2015, right? So it kind of threw me out there. Then I got to a point. This is after my dad died, so my mom wasn't really like being that restrictive of me anymore because she had like her own shit to worry about with him not being here. So I just started doing it, and I really believe that no matter what you try to do, if you put like 100% of your like shit into it not every day, but as much as you can, like it's going to happen as long as you have the talent to do it. But you just keep pushing at what you're doing. So it started slowly started happening.
It's a process.
Yeah, but then you started touring with people, and you got. I mean, you're a writer. Like, you're a deemed writer around town.
Yeah, you have a lot of success.
That's what you all see.
Yeah.
This is Jay-Z song. It's called Lucky Me, and it's the dopest hook in the world to me. And it's one of the Jay-Z songs that no one really listens to. And the hook goes, "You only know what you see. You don't understand what it takes to be." Right? That's the whole hook, and it's a lady singing it. But people see this and they say, "Oh, you're a writer." They don't see my car being repoed in 2016.
Yeah.
They don't see me living with 2 roommates who I found on Craigslist, right? And a cat that's attacking me at night because it's not my cat, and apparently he likes to fight black people, right? So, and
Where was this cat? Was this outside, indoors?
it was somebody's cat that they brought in.
Oh, so you guys just found a cat and
No. It was somebody's pet, but for some reason the cat was just kind of like, cats are emotional, you know?
yeah.
So like,
and the cat.
and apparently racist, right? So
Was she a black cat or he?
at the gray, I
Okay.
don't know.
All right.
Damn light-skinned cats.
Damn
Damn it!
cat.
Damn it!
So
But-
this
Light furred,
particular
I guess.
cat.
I'm just saying that people
An
just
issue.
don't see those stories of you losing relationships because like comedy's kind of always like first in some ways until you get somebody who can accept it,
Yeah.
or till you're at a point where you can actually facilitate a relationship because you're okay with not being out there every night trying to quote unquote make it and all this other shit. So
So you compromise.
So I went through a lot of shit, man, before I finally got that job at Comedy Central that brought me out here. Because I always told myself I'm not coming to LA until I have a reason to come out here. Because I know so many people who come to LA, and then I'm not knocking anybody for doing this. Pursue your dreams, that's great. But I wasn't trying to be the +1 to that already million people that are out here trying to do the same thing. So luckily, I had somebody at Comedy Central, James Davis, who had his own show coming out called Hood Adjacent. And I came out here for an interview. I didn't get the job, and I was very hurt by that. But then the guy who had the job, I guess he got fired because he wasn't doing this shit or whatever. So I got an email saying, you start Monday. Yeah. Right? So I was at a mic. I was at a show.
What an emotional roller coaster.
I was on stage. I was on stage at a comedy show in Chicago, and I get up, I see my email, and that's what the email says. And I'm freaking out because, like, Chicago is such a dope city. Yeah. But it's just kind of like a place where, like, good people go to die talent-wise because it's just like a ceiling.
There's a plateau at some point,
I was on top of the world, man. I didn't have much money saved up. I probably had, like, $1,000, you know what I'm saying? But you just fucking make it work. And, you know, we still here. So, you know, that's it.
Chicago has so much talent. Like, so many of you guys just come out with, like, just so strong. And we
don't want to leave, though.
Yeah. But because that city, it really cultivates talent. Because you guys get crowds to come out and support comedy. Nobody's jaded. They care.
The crowd cares.
They're, like, supportive of talent, you know, where, I mean, here in LA, it's hard to sometimes build up your talent because you don't have the resources available to you because they're really, I mean, you're scrounging for audience members and attention.
Do you think it's because we're in a city where the weather's great all the time, there's so many options, plus everyone's industry?
Yeah, of course,
I'm industry. I've been watching you guys this whole time.
I mean,
great job, kids.
Yeah, it's like it's a competition thing too, right? There's like a billion people out here trying to do comedy, and you know, it kind of dilutes the quality of it.
Are any of you all born and raised here from LA?
No.
I've been here for over a decade, but I'm from Florida originally.
I'm from Jersey.
Utah,
right? So Chicago. So like, where are you from, man?
From Pomona.
Okay, so
Paul's from Pomona.
But is that really LA though?
No.
LA County.
Oh, really?
Come on, Paul.
Is it LA County?
All of California is LA
sure?
County, technically.
It's at the border of LA and San Bernardino.
Okay.
James went to college, actually, at Pomona College, actually. But that's the thing. Like, you have to see people coming into your city all the time trying to make it and just making the population keep going up on a dream.
Yeah.
That mostly, well, I won't say mostly, that might not happen. It may happen or it might not happen. It depends on your work ethic. But, you know.
But you came out here for a job, and you stayed because the jobs keep coming.
But
so that's great.
You gotta hustle, man.
Yeah.
Like, you just gotta work your damn ass off.
For sure.
But I feel like we're seeing that more with like other celebrities and stuff. Like because of social media, people are like giving you like a peek into their lives, and like Cardi B, you see her like constantly flying. Ariana Grande, you see her like talking about having no personal life. Like it's really interesting. Like the people that do make it are not only amazingly talented, but none of them are slacking. Like the people that make it and stay,
there's no shortcuts.
Fucking hustling, dude.
And then you have to sacrifice so much of your because it takes so much focus. You get like it's just razor sharp focus constantly.
Also, I think with them at that celebrity level, it's like I think they know it could stop or slow down at any minute. You know, like it's very fleeting. So it's like while you have to keep going while you're still hot and like take advantage of it as much as you can.
I forgot who said this, but there's no such thing as the deal that you used to get, which included a special, a sitcom, and a book, and a movie. Like they used to give you a package back in the day.
Yeah.
And that shit is just not there like that no more. Like you might get something. It's gonna get canceled, or I mean, it probably will get canceled because no one's watching TV like that, right?
Yeah.
But then you got to take that and make it bounce to something else. And
absolutely.
Else, something else.
Yeah, where there was a time, even through like the late '90s, even early 2000s, where you would get like a late night set, you know, on at the time Letterman or Leno or whatever, and like you would get offers for TV and whatever. Now it's like people have had multiple late night sets and they still can't make rent, you know. So it's interesting.
It's just a check in some ways.
Yeah, it's a resume builder, but like it's not life changing.
It's a feather in a cap.
Yeah.
That was the whole point of La La Land.
My cap is bald.
I don't know if people saw La La Land, but the only thing I took from that movie was I forgot her name. The
Emma
main.
Stone?
Yeah,
Emma
Emma
Stone.
Stone. Her whole thing was that she just started doing her own shit and
Yeah.
and not letting the people in those auditions tell
Yeah.
her what her worth was.
Yeah.
And then she was like, "Fuck it."
But she
I'm
quit.
beautiful.
She quit. And that's another thing too. It's like the minute you want to quit, something happens that like reels you back in.
You mean to comedy or she quit her day job?
No. Well, I
I mean,
she,
not comedy.
She was going to leave acting. I
she
never
left.
saw the movie.
She left acting.
Yeah.
Sorry for any spoilers out there, but I mean it's been out for 3 years, so fuck off if you're mad at me. So basically, she like there was some sort of heartbreaking moment where like she like basically she's like fuck this shit, I give up on Hollywood, and she drove back to the Midwest.
Yeah.
And like literally the day she drove back or got back home,
She had an audition for something.
she had an
right?
audition for something major.
And he went to go get her, didn't
And he went to go. Ryan Gosling's character
Oh,
went to
he's
go
so
get her.
dreamy, right? He went back to get her and bring her back.
Yeah, and
oh,
also
boy.
Hollywood, if you're going to show real Hollywood, that's not a depiction of real Hollywood, because no man in Hollywood would ever fucking do that for anybody. Like, no one would drive from LA to the Midwest to be like, hey, you need to go do this audition. I'm driving you all the way back to LA.
They might do that, but
won't
then they
drive-
ghost you.
No.
They won't
No.
drive from like the west side to the east side.
Yeah. No one's driving into the valley either, you know? Like,
Yeah.
They
no,
won't come
forget
from Santa
that.
Monica to
Yeah,
Silver Lake.
Exactly.
They're not gonna do it.
La La Land was not.
The real La La
yeah,
Land.
it's not. Yeah, there needs
Emma
to be a real
Stone
La La
leaves,
Land.
and then Ryan Gosling's like, "Hey, man."
All
Yeah,
right.
this city
He
doesn't
gets on
hold
Tinder.
debate.
He
That
said
was
he
nice.
gets on
You just
Tinder and
start
starts swiping.
swiping.
Yeah, just start swiping.
My roommate yesterday had the funny. I knew somebody who went to like North Korea to like travel or whatever, and my roommate yesterday was like, "What's Tinder like in North Korea?" I was like, "Fuck."
That's a real thought, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do they
What
have
would-
Tinder in North Korea?
No, of course
Oh.
not.
They
don't
must
have
have
internet.
something. They must have their own version.
Well, I don't think the people have
I
internet.
seriously doubt that they have any access
Yeah.
to any of that stuff. They don't have access to food.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Anyways, I was like bringing the conversation back to North Korea.
It got real dark. Yeah.
Where did North Korea come from? Oh, dating
a
app?
Tinder
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So,
Whatever.
so you're in a relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah. Long term.
It is. And this person, like who I'm with now, we've been together for almost 2 years. And I tell people that this is a very, very lonely city.
Is she from Chicago or
She's from
here?
the East Coast.
Okay,
From,
but
like,
you met her out
Connecticut.
here?
Yeah, I met her on Bumble.
Okay.
Out here,
Oh, what?
out here in these
So
LA
she made the
streets.
first move then.
Yeah, but we didn't
Yeah.
click at first because I was so caught up in my comedy shit that I just was like so focused on getting the next job that I would not text her back and I would text her back like maybe 2 or 3 days later, and she'd be like, "Man, fuck this dude. He's a fuck
Yeah.
boy," you know. And I realized that like this is like a great person who's very fun, but you're just like you're not acting right. So I acted right, and I'll say for like the last 2 years, it's been something that you need to just kind of like unplug from this matrix of bullshit that's out here in this industry, and you just and we go bike riding or like she's really in the art and decorating, and that's not my jam. But you know, like sometimes you just go there and then I'll get some food and I'll be happy. I go to Central Market downtown LA, which I really am amazed by that.
That's fun.
So
Yeah.
all that food. I'm a foodie, man. So like,
Yeah, me too. That's why when we were talking about heaven, I feel like heaven's gonna be a place where like any craving you want is gonna be in front of you.
whatever, man. Like,
Yeah, it's gonna be Central Market in LA or
sushi,
something.
tacos,
Yeah.
soul food, whatever.
Yeah,
Like,
for
you know,
sure.
Juice,
Yeah.
cold pressed juice.
I don't. Do you like ever crave cold pressed juice? Is
It's
that a
pretty.
thing?
It's pretty good in the morning,
Okay.
man.
All right.
I like this thing where I don't like to eat solid foods like when I first get up.
Mm-hmm.
So like I don't want to have anything like food until like around noon. So
Got
like
it.
let's say if I'm going, like I have an audition tomorrow for a commercial, right? So I will have some coffee or I have some juice, but that's it, man. I don't want nothing like on me.
And then after the commercial, you go
yeah,
ham.
Yeah, yeah. But
He eats ham.
I eat ham
Now
now.
you do. Now you
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, I like that. But it's just also like a balance of like just cooking, treating yourself better. Like
Mhm.
I was telling you, like
Yeah.
getting on my bike and going, just getting some vitamin D in my life,
Yeah.
man. Just getting the fuck out the house as opposed to just being on your laptop all day, cooped inside, angry at the world because you
Yeah.
didn't get this.
But being in a relationship helps with that stuff because it kind of brings you back to like, oh, this is what normal people outside of entertainment
And
do.
she's a civilian, you know what I mean? So like, you need somebody sometimes who doesn't not do what you do. And
Yeah,
they're just
for our listeners, a civilian is basically anyone outside of entertainment.
yeah, I shouldn't say that. I made it sound like I'm a a communist or some shit like that. I don't know.
Or like
no,
in
I
the
know
military.
I get it.
I mean, sometimes it does feel like we're going to war. You know.
Are you dating a civilian? Do you consider him a
Yeah.
civilian?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's sometimes he is a civilian. I mean, he's just
He's not
so
a comedian, no?
No, he's not a comedian.
Yeah.
He's a
But
DJ.
entertainment.
He's
That's
in
right.
entertainment.
I remember this.
Yeah, he's a
Yeah.
DJ. No, I think it's like we understand each other in that perspective, but like he has more free time than I do.
Yeah.
You know, so in that.
You need
Ways,
that though.
yeah.
Like, I love my girl, but I
Yeah.
love when she's not here. Like
Yeah.
every day she goes to work at 6 a.m.,
Mhm.
7 o'clock, and I have my space to write and ride my bike and do what the fuck I need to do.
Do you
and
like the feeling of missing someone?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what sucks about the world now is that you know everything about somebody's day
Yeah.
via text. Like you know what everything
Text, stories,
before they get
Instagram.
home. Like there's nothing to tell your boo. 'Cause
Yeah.
you text them already. So when you see them, it's just like you want to eat, all right? And then you watch Stranger Things, and then you go have sex, and that's pretty much that's what the life is.
Well, sometimes I'll like my boyfriend and I will do that where we're like we won't really communicate during the day because we're both busy in our own things, and then sometimes like we won't communicate for like 2 days, and then we'll see each other for like a date night, and it's like, oh, this is fun. We have stuff to talk about.
It's like
what?
communication
I
edging.
love that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a good relationship dynamic.
That's great.
It's fun though because it like gives you like time to miss each other and something to talk about during date night.
That is
know?
a great You don't have to talk to them every day.
Yeah,
That's
well,
good. That's really good.
like
Well-
you know, random things. You know, like scheduling things. I'll talk to him. Like, hey, we're doing this on this date. Are we still going to that wedding? Stuff like that. But like, you know,
Well, you have some time apart, so it's not like
That shit's important.
yeah,
That shit
Damn.
is so important.
for sure. For
some
sure.
people. I don't know. I think everyone's needs are different, but yeah, I think like I don't know if I could handle someone who needs constant attention.
She's very supportive though. Like she likes to.
Are you the attention whore in your relationship?
I'm
Dave?
not.
Oh yeah, we're all entertained. That's why we need a civilian to just adore
No.
us, right?
I don't think so. Like I'm very independent, right?
Yeah.
And she likes to come to shows and stuff like that. And at first I liked that, but now like not so much. Like you wouldn't be able to talk about. I did a joke one time, and she was like, "I don't like that joke," right? And that caused a real argument because I felt like I couldn't be myself. Were at my quote unquote work, right? And like I don't come to her job and sit in the surgeon's office and be like,
That's a great point.
do that anesthesia shit. You know what I'm saying? So if I invite you and it's cool, come be in my
Yeah.
world, but don't come here and saying like what you don't like about especially if it's not about you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, you can't censor yourself as an artist on stage, especially like if you're not. That's so tough because when I feel close to someone,
Mm-hmm.
it's very close, like sort of family level or like lover level. There's pressure when they see me, and their criticism matters more to me.
You want to
I know-
crush so hard in front of like your family and your boo, and then when you don't, and they like,
It's also like
you know.
a.
And you don't want to piss them off or offend them either. So if you're,
I mean, it's also like a form of rejection. It's like
Yeah.
they're not accepting you at your most you, and that's what person that you want the most to accept you and like understand you and give you the benefit of the doubt. So that's like even more painful.
So I think in the future I might set that boundary with like my parents where it's like, I don't come into to the office and tell you how to, or, affect your job or come into the surgeons, whatever. It's like, this is personal and I need to be able to perform because this is a job, and if you're there, it might mess me up.
It's also weird that they think that they can give us advice. You know what I mean?
Do
Like
they tell you what jokes to use? Like, you could use this
Oh.
joke
Or
about my life.
But that's
That-
just the nature of being a comedian. Like
That's-
people will randomly like, oh, you should use this in your skit, and
Or
I'm
they're-
like, I
or-
don't know what a fucking skit.
Your
or they'll
skit?
tell you
your stand-up skit.
Yeah, well, you should put this in your skit. I'm like, I don't what?
or they'll
Stop.
tell you what not to say. Or they'll be
Yeah.
like, I like these types of jokes, do those types of jokes. And you're like, I don't tell you how to do your job. You don't know how this works.
Here's
You
the-
don't know
yeah,
how
that's
I'm
not,
successful
that's
in this
not my
career.
voice.
That's
Have
not
you
my
had-
voice. You
Dave,
don't understand.
have you had people do that to you? Like people you care about who are like, oh, you should
Absolutely.
do this and you should do that.
My mother, but it all changed when I gave her a free wristband on the cruise for like she got free alcohol for the entire trip because I was on the show, and she didn't complain no more because now she has stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So
yeah.
the answer was to put people on your payroll, make it big, and have them not be
Paying
able
them to shut the
critique
fuck
you.
up.
There you go. That's
Money
the way
is
to
the
do it.
answer, guys.
Okay, so
That's it.
speaking of wristbands and all that stuff, you've had access to some like amazing shows and been part of like some great projects. Like you work really closely with Rel.
Yeah.
And
That's
what's
my mentor right there.
yeah,
Man.
and he's done the dope ass comedy show at Bronson Bar, which you do here in Hollywood.
Yeah, he came
And-
the night that his show got picked up for Fox. That was a really cool night.
Yeah, that was a
Wow.
really fun night. I mean,
That
not for
was a
me
cool-
because some meth head yelled me off the stage
Oh.
at some point, but that was a really fun
That
show.
was a real dope
Yeah.
show. And, that was a good experience. We got to work with Rel. And if you don't watch the show, you missed out on the good shows written by him, Josh Rabinowitz, and Kevin Barnett, who was a really good friend of mine
yeah.
who passed away on January 22nd. But that was like, that writer's room was so fun. Like, you don't really know how much fun it is to get paid to go and to do something that you love. And then you get free lunch and gain like 20 pounds in like 2 weeks. And it's amazing. Right?
It was a really fun show. It's on Hulu. I watched it all.
It's good.
It's great. Yeah.
And then after that ended, I just got done working on Lab Tracks for which is a show on True TV where like you tell a joke as a comedian, then they come back and they recreate your joke as a sketch with actors
Yeah.
and
That's
your
your little
voiceover,
skit.
like a little
Your
skit,
skit.
That you're doing.
So
But yours is like yours. I was gonna call it a skit. You do this joke that it's like featured as an episode
yeah.
on the show,
Yeah,
which
I got
is
two
really
of them
fun.
going. Yeah.
You got two.
The gluten rally joke,
Yeah.
right, and teaching high school.
Okay.
But this year I didn't get to be on the show. This year I got to write
That is so dope.
the scripts for 60 of the comics. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
like that was very cool. being
Congrats,
on
man!
the
Like
other side of that.
that's a great move.
It's like a drug though.
Yeah.
Like you get it and it's like, man,
And then you want it. You want
you
more
want
of
something
it.
else because
Yeah.
like that money. The more you make, the more shit people ask you for.
Yeah.
I love my family, but they always ask me for shit.
Mhm.
Always ask me for shit.
Next thing you know, you're sucking dick for a writing job.
I'm joking. No, it's just the process. But I like being able to help out people, man. So
Yeah.
I want to be able to get the next job. Man.
Have you had to say no?
to what?
Yet
A
to
writing
like
job?
not to writing jobs, but for people assuming that because you're successful, you just have like this endless amount of funds to like help out on this project or for this charity or
No, that's
for-
mostly just
no?
inside family.
Okay.
So it's like I
Okay.
can't tell them no. It's just like I figure out a way to get that back somehow,
Yeah.
some way, you
Yeah.
know. But I also feel like the more you give, the more you'll get.
Yeah.
I really do believe that, you know. And we'll see. Like right now, I'm waiting to hear back from a couple of meetings for the next, because like staffing season comes, and you go through this thing as a comic and a writer when you see people getting stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And as us being minorities, like it's not like it's limited, but it's definitely like less opportunities, you know. Or you get pigeonholed into like that diversity spot
In the
Yeah.
system.
right
Yeah.
on the system.
When we're
so-
working
even
within
in
the
even in
system.
Hollywood with all the I mean, people think there's this big diversity push going on in Hollywood right now, and surface wise there may be, but like
who's still writing the check? You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
right,
like
you
all,
know?
all the executives making decisions, all the showrunners, all of that, like it's still very,
And still think
one-sided.
about it. There's there's still that diversity slot. It's a slot. What is that? Who's filling
Yeah.
the other 9 slots that they're casting?
You're right.
So
I just
it's-
saw a sketch show though that's coming
One.
out. I saw it's like an all female black Robin Thede sketch show that's coming out.
Oh, I'm so excited
Oh,
about
dope. I
that.
saw
on
that.
HBO.
Yeah.
Like
It looks so cool.
I like seeing stuff like that, like goat face. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like when you just see like people who are just their narrative is just totally different. Because we're all dope as fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like we can write a dope show. Like we don't. It's not. You don't have to be like a. You don't have to be white to make a dope show. bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? These people have talent. You can have a crew of non-white people that can do amazing things as well.
I think the industry is starting to slowly discover that people who are not white also like to watch TV.
Yeah, and also have talent.
Yeah,
And-
wow.
More importantly, yeah.
Speaking to the crew thing, when they were doing like the interviews for Ava's show, they like asked one of the people when they knew it would be different, and they said when they walked into like the makeup room and all of the makeup and hair people were black, and they were like, "Oh, this is something different."
Yeah.
like 'cause they put them in that position.
That's cool just
Yeah.
to see that stuff. And, like, my one thing I want to do, if you give me all the money in the world, and you say like, what do you want to do with once you're rich? I want to be able to like start a center for the arts for like minorities and people in like low income areas to like know that they can do all this dope shit that they don't have the resources for necessarily, but you can be taught how to do this. You can be taught how to write a script. Like writing a script is not hard, but you don't have access to the software. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And people I know to this day, even myself, I wrote a script in Microsoft Word like a dumbass, and again I was so excited, and I gave it to somebody, and somebody was like, "Yo, they're never going to read this shit."
They
man.
have free software for that, though.
I didn't know. I didn't know until I got here.
Yeah.
So
You know what I mean?
I think that the importance of providing resources at a young age, it really can make a significant difference.
You should be able to major in like script writing or like go to an art school, and they have those things now. Like they have like the Harold Ramis School at Second City in Chicago. But when I was in college, I couldn't do that,
I mean, I always wish that education was more tailored to the individual. Again, it's like this whole same thing. Like, it's just, why can't we sort of create our own, I don't know, program?
That's a whole different episode, man.
Yeah.
Like, that's
Tap out, Dave. No, I'm kidding.
What?
We're like, Dave taps out. Somebody else jumps in on it. I'm kidding.
So you want that to be your legacy, in addition to like all the other projects you've written on. But what is... I don't like when people ask me this question, but like, do you have like of all like the dreams and stuff that you see yourself coming true for yourself? Like, what's your thing?
I want to start directing. Like I hate this. It sounds so like cliche, but if you saw Jordan Peele's trajectory from from being like a sketch improv guy to becoming like having his own show on Comedy Central, to writing that stuff too and acting in it, and then getting behind the camera, and now he doesn't have to get in the front of the camera ever in his fucking life if he doesn't want to. Because people don't realize that. I think
he has 2 great movies that have come out in the past 2 years.
I think it's way more stressful being in front of that camera, and I feel like you have way less power when you're in front of that camera.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And to me, like, I like acting, I like stand-up, but I would much rather be Judd Apatow and just get that check and create dope shit that people don't know me when they see me. I see Judd Apatow all the time. Nobody's like, oh shit. Like if you're a nerd,
but he gets to do stand up whenever he feels like it, and he sells out.
Ain't that the dream? And nobody knows you. If he's in Sprouts, you're not gonna be like, oh shit, that's Judd Apatow.
You get to live your life, I
don't want all that fame. I just want to be able to be paid and help out folks when they need it and chill.
And
honestly.
Get up at the Improv whenever you want.
That's all I want.
That's
man.
it. Well, that's dope. I think it's gonna happen for you.
It is happening.
It is happening.
I think we have to use the word dope in the title of the episode.
Just call it dope.
Yeah. Just call it dope.
Just call it dope.
With Dave
We said dope a
Helem.
lot.
Yeah.
But I don't know if we're wrapping up, but I just think this has been like a dope experience being here talking about everything from religion to. I'm a big fan of like energy and like this like the law of attraction and stuff like that. So like I don't know. I just tell people like if you want to do it, and don't let shit distract you from doing it, because a lot of times when people are not doing it, you talk to them, and it's just they're not doing it because they don't believe they can do it, and that's it. I mean, a lot of times you need the resources to do it too, but it starts with an idea. With
belief, I mean, it's just like, how can you move forward if you don't even have the belief? It's hard to take that first step.
Well, it's a belief and work ethic. Because there have been plenty of people who just, haven't been able to make it work no matter how strongly they believed in you could be the most talented person in the world.
But if you're not working at it, how much do you really believe in it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it kind of goes hand in hand.
For sure.
Message.
Should we ask Dave or questions?
Yeah, why not?
Should we try to do our closing segment?
We sometimes have some segments. One is we haven't done this in a while. Oh, who's your favorite South Asian celebrity? So South Asian as in like Indian, Pakistani, brown, basically brown.
Sri Lankan, Bangladeshi.
How many Bangladeshi celebrities?
I don't know, man.
Where's that representation looking like here?
I've been really getting into like, and I don't even know if he's a celebrity yet, but he's on my TV every time I look at him. He's such a nice guy. It was Asif Ali.
Oh,
yeah.
Like
he's great.
He's just
Yeah.
like.
Asif, we got to get you on.
He is the shit, man. He even did my show. I asked him to
He's
do
so
it.
funny.
I don't know what a cutoff is in terms of like the description of the demographics, but it's a lot of people who who are. I'm just getting into like I didn't know about Joe Coy. Like he's fucking amazing. Mo Heimer, and like I said, I don't know where we're stopping in terms of the geographical.
Yeah.
Like
We'll include.
line, but
We'll include him in there. I mean, he's brown. That's fine.
No.
Yeah,
Not
maybe
our brown, but he is a shade of brown.
brown.
Yeah.
And I mean it's also like we know about like I have a man crush on like Hassan. Like he's just so. I watched that his
Patriot Act.
I do. Like it's such
I love it.
it's such a
Homecoming
great
King,
show.
yeah.
You know? And he's like, I have a friend who writes on that show who wrote on Hooded Jason named Zachary Rice, and I just think the show's so smart and so funny, and he just
It's very him. Like it's like his personality, what he's into, the message he wants to bring across, and it's funny and humorous.
I hate most of those shows where somebody's just talking like a green screen behind them.
Yeah.
But he makes it. He has enough swag where he pulls it off, and I'm
Yeah.
just like, man, I like this dude. And we all know that likability is the number one most important thing
Yep.
in all of this. You can have the greatest jokes, you can whatever, but if you're not likable,
There's a
Yeah, for
connection.
sure. He also has like a really cool like YouTube playlist called Deep Cuts, where he like answers questions in between the filming, and he'll bring out guests. Like he brought out like Charlemagne the God and like I think Phoebe Robinson, like different people to talk and answer.
It's on
Yeah,
YouTube.
you should check it
Yeah.
out.
Okay.
It's really good. But yeah, okay.
I shall.
Cool. And I like that we kind of have a women's crush segment. Do you have any women crushes you'd like to shout out? Like platonic women crushes, since you're spoken for?
Yeah. What's Marcella? Marcella Aguayo. Like she's so damn cool,
Yeah.
and she's also just like cursing somebody out on Twitter every goddamn day.
Yeah.
She's
like
fun.
she posted something like this guy was like, "You look really." No, this guy was like, "You sexy as fuck." And then
I saw that.
And she's like, "Should I block him?" And I was just like, "Why you gonna block the guy?" But we were in Cleveland at the Accidental Comedy Festival, and this kid came up to her and they were like, "Will you buy some cigarettes?" And I've never seen a kid be more scared after she just nailed into him for like 5 minutes about his life and how she just like tore him a new asshole. And I was just like, "Oh, you a bad bitch!" Like
Yeah.
for real. You know what I'm saying? So
That would have been fun to watch.
it was very fun, but yeah, she's great.
So that was the
Awesome.
women crush / bad bitch section.
Yeah, man, I got
segment.
a lot of respect for her and
Yeah.
Zaynab Johnson. You know what I'm saying?
I
Like,
love
yeah.
Zaynab.
I really do
it's
like
just-
Zainab a lot too.
just dope people who I really just fucks with, man. So I mean, it's so many. Like Schreiber just walked in. You know what I'm saying? Like it's so many people. I could just give
She's
that.
listening to a podcast.
Next
She's listening
week's
to another
episode.
podcast.
Shout out
You
to
know.
Nicole. Cool. So we should.
Yeah, we should
Yeah.
wrap. But Dave, where can our people find you?
Every
see
Thursday,
you?
man, at the Bronson Bar for a dope comedy show in L.A. We got the dopest comics this week. This Thursday, we got Jay Kata, Azar Uzman.
Azhar Osman's in
Yeah.
town?
Yeah,
This Thursday?
He's on my show. On
Oh my
Thursday.
God, I'm going to come say hi.
Lara
For so long.
Bites,
Okay.
who's super funny from Chicago as well. Grady from Chicago, and Jay Mandium.
Okay.
Who's a super dope guy too. So I try to have like super diverse, super funny like lineup
Yeah.
because like
Yeah.
when you go to like mainstream shows, like you know how you have like 1 or 2 diversity spots. I try to have it be the opposite, where it's like a mostly like black or brown lineup, and then I do have like my whites in there too. But you know, sprinkle them in like
Yeah.
like croutons.
It's a really fun show. And also, like, it's just a good hang.
It's a good hang, man.
So, comedy fan or not, just come by and hang out. It's always fun.
And we have listeners all over. So you have a show in Chicago as well.
Oh yeah, same show every third Friday. Next Friday will be our 3-year anniversary show. So I've been doing it. So
Congratulations.
it started in Chicago, and if you come next Friday, you might see a sighting of a cool comedian whose initials are HB. If you come,
HB.
Ooh, Hannibal.
Ooh, no, HB.
can't
Celebrity,
confirm or deny.
celebrity guest.
Where are you on?
you may not. You might not come, but he's coming.
Tell us where we can find you on your socials.
It's just my name, Dave Helem. Dave Helem on everything: Twitter,
Cool.
Instagram, Facebook. I don't do shit else outside of those 3. So if you have like Snapchat or Tumblr, I'm not gonna be on there.
Or TikTok.
Those are fake.
That's the thing now.
Yeah, tell me
It's a
about
thing now.
TikTok after this.
I'll
'cause
tell
I'm-
you. I'll tell you about it later. We'll
hell
save
is
that for the next podcast.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm seeing that. Anyway, okay, I'm Fizza Dasani at Fizza Dasani, Fizaa DOSANI. And if you want to go to the website, add a .com after that.
And I'm Zara Ali. You can find me on all the socials, online at Really Zara. Zara is spelled Zahra.
I'm Paula Viganalin, PallaVigunAlan. That's my Instagram, my Facebook, my Twitter, and my website. And you can find us at Facial Recognition Comedy on Instagram and Facebook, and Facial Rec Comedy on Twitter. We have our shows the second Sunday of every month at Westside Comedy Theater in Santa Monica. And our next show is next week, the 14th at 9 p.m. We also have a show in Irvine at the Irvine Improv on July 23rd at 8 p.m. And we're coming to New York. We're going to do New York shows again. We're doing monthlies. We got July 26th and August 30th at 11:30 p.m. at New York Comedy Club, the Midtown location.
That's hot.
Woo!
That is hot.
You did
See
that
you
in one
there.
breath. Look at you.
See you
trying.
And you have the
there.
longest name out of all of us, and we have the longest comedy name out of all the comedy shows in the world. All right.
right.
Thank
Can
you
you
so
leave us
much.
with something? Anything.
I don't know, man. Be good people. That's it.
I like that.
There you go. Be good people. Bye, everybody.